All right, I got an amazing interview with a person named Owen. He's a friend of mine in Sydney. Joined his podcast. Amazing questions, amazing episode. Very casual, not like other podcasts and interviews where they just try to get my backstory. This one, he said, everyone already knows your backstory. Why don't we go ahead and dig into the interesting things? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you posting every day? What's your strategies? What's your long-term goal? A lot of amazing questions and answers, and you really get to see what I'm doing in a holistic view. This is the interview with Owen.
Until my homeboy Anthony brought it up to me about your name during our lunch at work. I never heard of your name, and then when I start looking into it by talking to Anthony as well, and I really feel like I wish I know you 5 years ago. I probably wouldn't be in this rat race right now. And there's so much I do appreciate the content you're putting out there, and by creating value. But the purpose of this chat with you, it's not so much by resharing the content you already done out there or resharing your story. I'm gonna have the link on this episode so people can look it up. One of the things I enjoy in podcasts is I listen to what's already been done. I don't like the reinvent the wheel, but then I want to find a point of difference, able to get some really raw content has never been generated before by having this kind of freestyle chat. And what I find is quite amazing what I can pick it up, which is extremely interesting. So for anyone interested to be an entrepreneur, doesn't matter what you do. For anyone interested in e-com, I can't think of anyone not interested after COVID-19. For anyone want to think about dropshipping, if you don't know anything about it, even by Google, for anyone, talking about social media, but they don't know how to create the content, or they don't know how to actually utilize the paid ads. I mean, you're pretty much creating an encyclopedia on YouTube. And when I look through just by preparing this interview, I was like, holy shit, wow. And while I was going through your content, you just pump out another one. It was like, you just don't stop, man. When I initially researched Gary Vee, and I just exhausted by it. There's too much content I can't consume. And with yours is you're like a little soldier, man. You know, like the dedication, the consistency, and I think and motivate me by doing what I want to do, just by look at the pattern of your YouTube video productions, because there's no gap. You said in your original podcast, you said you're gonna do this since 2018. Then you did exactly what you said to do. Then I look at the pattern of the videos you've been doing. You do one per day, right?
Correct. One every day, schedule at 9 p.m. Australia.
Oh, that explains why the latest one popping out while I was looking at your YouTube the other night. So 9 p.m. every night.
Correct. For the past 2.5 years, I've been doing it every single day. I had an 8-month gap when I was living in San Francisco, America. But before and after that 8-month gap, it has been every single day.
I genuinely feel your intention to do what you do is beyond money. I think you get really good kick out of by getting the validation from your students who actually can stay put, go through a short period of the cycle you've been through over a long period of time, and getting that sweet taste of success or each milestone. You get a great kick out of that, because I see that pattern in your YouTube footage. Most of your YouTube videos, you're getting the 3-digit views. And then there's a pattern of, I don't know whether you did on purpose or just gone viral, or certain ones will go, 4 or 5 digits. So, but the thing is, you just don't stop. So here's my first question. What made you to be that disciplined?
Got it. So the thing that really motivated me was Gary Vee. You're correct. He's the one that really talked about consistency and talked about digital real estate. Imagine buying a house in 1990, where you could buy a house in Sydney for literally 50K, 100K, and today it'll be worth 1 mil. That's exactly what digital real estate is. And YouTube is so evergreen. The half-life of a content is literally infinite. When you post something on Instagram, it's only going to be alive for the next 12 hours. If you post something on Facebook, it's only going to be alive for the next 4 hours. If you post something on LinkedIn, that'll probably last for like a few weeks. But if you post something on YouTube, it lasts for a few years. So going back to the strategy, you're right. I post every single day and I create evergreen content that can literally go viral over time. So all those 5-digit videos that are at 10K, 15K, 20K, they didn't blow up at the very beginning. They were a very slow burn. It just would randomly blow up 2-3 months after I posted that video, and would just consistently bring in views, revenue, and leads. So that's sort of the strategy behind the posting, and reason why I post every single day is just because that's sort of the perfect formula for growth, compounding, and consistency.
How did you learn to become such expert producing the video content? There's a few things I like about it. I just want to make a quick highlight. You are genius by creating those tag names. So every single video got my attention by how you actually creating that topic. So did you learn that from somewhere else? How did you, or this is just continue refining, chop and change, and then you get a lot more engagement than you just stay on doing exactly the same way you do?
Refining over 500 titles. Exactly. And I would keep tweaking it. And sort of using empathy as a consumer. What would I click on? See what other people are doing. I've tried long titles. I've tried titles with brackets. I've tried emojis. I've tried short titles. I've tested everything. And then eventually, right now, the current trend is you want to state what is in the video, no clickbait. You don't want to use a bunch of capital letters. You just want to use probably like 5 to 6 words and have each word be fronted with a capital letter, and maybe something in brackets to further explain what the topic is about. Emojis, maybe one emoji at the end if you feel like you want to. And that's sort of the current formula that I've been able to slowly put together, and I'm constantly testing. And with with how the market works, that's probably not going to last for a long time. And in a month's time, you're going to see me use a different formula.
I definitely see the transition, continue refining as a pattern in your, because I went through all the screenshots of your over 500 videos. I can see how you're doing 2 years ago up to now. There is a transition of you got something change, then you just keep maintaining that, and your screenshots are extremely consistent, and it just always like putting the right title, like either asking the right question or giving the right keyword, so grabbing attention or getting the content. And the other thing I want to congratulate you is, like, I don't see many people actually paying attention, refining that playlist. So your YouTube videos now is like my mini encyclopedia. Want to learn in terms of not necessarily just the video, just in some of the content. So your playlist literally like a category. How long took you to work that out, or it is just over a period of time?
So that's actually something that me and my editor put together, I think 2 weeks ago. He came to me and was like, hey, one of the strategies I learned is what you could do is you should put every single video into a relevant playlist.
Yeah.
And then after every time you upload that video, you should post a comment sharing a playlist related to that video, and you should tag that comment to the top of your YouTube. So if someone watches a video on Facebook ads, you would link a playlist of all your Facebook ads videos. They could click on that and they could just see a bunch of other Facebook ads videos and create this crazy sort of flywheel effect. So that's something I recently put to play, and I need to sort of get one of my team members to literally go through the remaining, I think maybe 400 videos and put them into the relevant playlist. So that's something I'm slowly putting together. And then after that, I'll need to get another employee to go ahead and tag the playlist and tag it as a top comment, and we'll see how that goes. So constantly testing and trying new ideas out.
Man, that looks awesome, because to me, and that's it's like pretty much a catalog. So if I want to look at things related to accounting, I can see those 2 videos right there. If I want to look at things about sales, of course, like this is still work in progress. I'm just saying that's impressive, man. Like,
thank you.
I mean, I don't spend much time on YouTube because I just don't have that much time to consume the content. But I really dig it how you do this, and you have a good strategy, but you also have a good execution. And the most things I like about it, this is a consistency. So in the martial world, like if you're a UFC fighter, you're the one basically keep training every day versus somebody just can fight. You know what I mean? Like, and that it's not, it's not like winning a short battle. This is a long-term war, if you put an analogy. But for you, this is art, right? This is what motivates you. This is what you want to do. So I really respect that. So as a young hustler, when you start in high school, how did you build this discipline? We're both Asians. Like, I think in our roots, and we learn about obey, we learn about consistency from our childhood. But entrepreneur is never in our blood. You know what I mean? Because we always learn about be safe, certainty. At least that's how our parents teaching us, right? So be reliable and be able to support your family. Never about taking risk or calculated risk, right?
Correct. And I wanted to sort of add on what you said earlier about the consistency. Like, right now, my sort of success has been just sheer consistency and just really just knocking against this wall again and again and again. And even now, I hadn't had that breakthrough moment. I haven't had that viral video, and I'm constantly trying new things to get that viral video, get that viral series. And what I've achieved is just through sheer work and consistently, and no luck at all. Like, none of my videos have gotten viral. I hadn't had that big breakthrough, and I'm still pushing hard to get there. But I'm embracing the journey, and this just shows that even if you don't have that breakthrough moment, you could survive and flourish through just sheer work and consistency. Now, on the topic of where I got my consistency from, I think it came probably from my sheer hunger. I think when I was growing up, when I was young, my mum wasn't able to sort of afford or just give me the things I wanted. I was a kid in primary school that didn't have a console. I didn't have a Nintendo. I didn't have a PS2. I didn't have Nikes. I didn't have that cool Smiggle pencil case that everyone had. I literally had the bare basics. My mum always had a saying, is this a need or is it a want? So I only had the needs, and as a result, that just drove me to find ways to make money. And through that hunger, I was able to learn how to buy and sell things online, buy and sell clothing, buy and sell. So I was playing this game called MapleStory, and I was learning how to buy and sell items within MapleStory. So I was just learning all these skills just through sheer hunger, due to my sort of circumstances. And then I think that hunger translated into consistency, because I knew that if I wanted to achieve the things I was hungry for, consistency was a must to that formula.
What's your secret, or how do you continuously research out there to utilize the latest tool at no cost, to utilize things to improve that efficiency? I'm going to lay out a couple of examples to explain why I'm asking the question. For me to book this recording with you, and you have I wouldn't say set to forget, but you have pretty awesome automated system. So I know your availability. I can book online, take me a couple of seconds, a few clicks, then we can confirm a time rather than going back and forwards, phone calls or emails or chat, right? So that's efficiency. Until I click the invite link to send you, over the period of time, I've got 3 text message lead up to this event to give me constantly reminder. And also I've got email to remind me. Man, that's a freaking awesome, right? I even some big corporations don't have system like that, and you have that. And how the heck you find it? And in one of the content I pick it up from your YouTube, you were talking about Trello. I only recently, in the last 4 months, been forced to using Trello because my work buddies, everyone's using Trello, so where I've shared Trellos, right? But then it's like, there's so much out there. How are you going to discover them all? Or where do you find a time to implement, or knowing where you're looking for?
Got it. So I've got a good example. So over the past 6 months, I've been applying to get approved to test out TikTok ads. I know TikTok is big. I know that probably advertising is even bigger. And I wanted to sort of try TikTok ads. I would applied, I think 2-3 times, didn't get any reply or response from them. And then roughly 2 weeks ago at 11 p.m., I got sent an email saying that I got approved for TikTok ads. Guess what? 5 minutes later, instead of going to bed, I stayed up an extra hour and a half to launch my first TikTok ads. I imported $50 to the TikTok ads account, and I just wanted to test it out. One, I wanted to sort of get a experience and taste of what the platform is like. Two, I wanted that sort of initial starter's advantage and lead on everyone else. And three, I made sure that I could really kill 2 birds with 1 stone with it. I filmed that process so I could make a YouTube video out of it. That's one. Number 2 is, if TikTok ads work, I could really scale that out for my business. So that's just one example of me just applying something straight away. Now, when it comes to building systems and how I found out about Calendly and how I set up those automated emails, that was something that just came through pain. When you have a pain point, you'll look for solutions. So one of the pain points I used to have is, how do I schedule calls efficiently with all my consulting students or people that are interested in my services? Like booking in a time and having time differences, it just doesn't work out. So through that pain, did some research, and I found out about Calendly. For example, if I'm finding Trello, that came through a pain of not being able to really manage what all my team members do, how to make sure that they do their task list. And through that pain, I then onboarded and integrated Trello into the company. And then also through networking, masterminding, you sort of learn what other people use, and you could sort of hear about it. So I actually heard about Trello like 2-3 years ago, but only recently have I been able to pull that information from a mastermind I learned 2 to 3 years ago and apply it 6 months ago when I needed it. So definitely learning and researching, finding what other people use and just storing that till when the pain does hit, you could take that knowledge, or if you don't have that knowledge, research and find the solution.
I'm going to ask you about, so this is probably related to probably how you're mentoring your students as well. And this is probably more personal for me because I'm really curious about it. When you, like this is probably wind back in a few years back, when you started testing, when you start getting those hit and miss, that you build up the consistency, have a high tolerance level to almost to break to the break point if I'm not getting if I'm not getting the 5-digit daily sales, if I'm not getting the hit, I've done 30 products or 30 ads, I'm done, right? So if I ask you back then, if I convert into say dollar value, what was that threshold for you to say, okay, this is it? So are we talking about outlay like $3,000, $4,000 with not seeing the result? How much we're talking about back in the days?
Got it. So when I first got into dropshipping, I was roughly around 17, turning 18. I've worked at McDonald's. When I was 14, saved up some money there. I worked at Kmart, saved up some money there. Then at the time I was working as a swimming instructor. So through those 3 jobs, I've saved up 5,000 Australian dollars. So that was my buffer for my dropshipping business. Every single day I was tracking my expenses, and over a period of 6 months, there was this graph that would just keep going down, down, down on the negative balance. So it was like down 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and it was like down 4,000. So I was very, very close to my threshold of $5,000. And by then, I've probably tested like 70 plus products. I think I found like a small potential winner, 30 products in, and that sort of recouped some losses. But then from 30 to 70, I lost all the profits again. And by the 70th product, I was nearly $5,000 negative into my, savings I spent the past 3-4 years putting together. In a period of 6 months, I've lost that. But the moment I found my winning product, I was able to make $5,000 back, plus a bunch of profit on top in a period of 1 or 2 weeks.
That's unbelievable. I think were you able to capture that learning curve? It's amazing, and now you're able to share that with everybody else. Personally, I can't see myself. That's in relatively to save that up in over 4 years' time as a young kid back in the days. I don't believe average person can have that kind of tolerance level, able just to still stay put, and because you got to really have a really strong mental strength and a strong belief to and also not doing it blindly, right? So we're talking about continued refined strategy, looking for the better refinement of how you're going to deploy those ads, right?
Exactly, and that was definitely one of the toughest thing at the time. Like, it was so tough, that 6 months period, because at that time, everything I tried, there would be like a small learning curve, but after 2, 3, 1 month max, I would crack it and I'll be able to be profitable. Whether it was how to go ahead and make money selling things on MapleStory, how to go ahead and buy things from Facebook groups and be able to flip it on eBay, how to go ahead and sort of buy things from AliExpress, send it to Australia, and then just sell it on eBay and just sort of ship it out one by one. All these things I was able to crack in under 1 month. But with drop shipping, I was 6 months in with no results, and it was so tough. It was one of the toughest things, but I knew my $5,000 was my cap limit, and the further I went, the harder it got to sort of go back. Like, there was no going back. If you're $2,500 down, you can't just stop there. Like, you just have to keep on going. Like, I had no option. And that's sort of what kept me going. I just literally had no option. If I stopped, I would have lost $2,500. And if I kept going, I could have potentially made it back. Worst comes to worst, I lose $5,000. But for some reason, I just had a gut feeling that if I just keep trying, I'll be able to figure it out. And I also knew through just watching a bunch of Gary Vee videos, watching a bunch of entrepreneurs every single day, like, I was literally watching dropshipping videos 24/7. I knew that eventually I'll crack this. I just have to keep at it. Like, that's what I kept telling myself, that eventually I'll figure it out. Eventually the code would be cracked and things would be good. But I just had to keep pushing and not give up. And that's sort of what kept me going. Me knowing that eventually this would work out.
What was that attraction, rather than just going back to where you were good at it, just flipping and just, open another eBay store or do another Amazon store? Like, you were really good at it and you had a proven success. You would probably made a lot more money back then choosing the easy way. That's, from my perspective, that's how I see it, rather than and doing this hard chase. And that's long. That's 6 months is a long time in that mental state, and you were relatively even younger back then. What was the traction, man?
The traction was me getting to the next level. I knew that if I could crack it, I'll be on a new level. For example, right now, I could easily just go back to dropshipping, do what I learned, and just sort of make money, make okay money, multi six figures, and be working all day long. That's sort of what I could have definitely done. But I knew that there is a limit to dropshipping, and I want to get to the next level. So for the past year and a half, I've been working and constantly trying to crack the code of cold traffic, webinar, VSL, consulting, course selling, informational, sort of that whole bubble. I've been trying to crack that code for the past year and a half. I haven't fully cracked it. I'm getting closer and closer every single day, week, month, and year. But I know that when I do, I'll be pushed onto that next level. And that's sort of what keeps me going and why I don't regress and just go back to what works.
What's the next level looks like? Paint me the picture, man.
The picture is I'll be able to consistently have this machine where I put in $1 and then $2 comes out, and I could just scale that out and just put every single dollar into that machine, have $2 come out, and just know that it is a solid machine that can produce that. Right now, the machine I have, it's not, maybe $1 goes in and probably like $1.20 comes out, and I sort of like every day, I'm starting to know my numbers more and more clearly. I'm collecting more and more data, and I'm really focusing on the numbers and KPIs. But when I'm able to figure that out, I'll be able to literally just scale everything out, get more employees.
I want to challenge you to be the devil's advocate, right? So the code you're trying to crack, I mean, don't you know this is all the major players, those platforms are built, the algorithm don't stop changing, and we talk about hundreds of thousands of brains working behind the scenes that constantly don't want you to figure it out. You know that, right?
So what do you mean by that?
All the algorithm, all these platforms, they're constantly changing, right? They don't want you to figure it out. And what you're trying to do is you're really trying to optimize that.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to master cold organic traffic and paid and organic traffic. In the paid traffic, yes, I'll be leveraging Facebook, Google, TikTok, LinkedIn, and I'll be diversifying myself across those platforms. And ideally, those platforms work. People have been able to sort of, for example, like people are still making money through TV infomercials.
That's
TVs
right.
have existed for nearly 100 years. And even though, as you said, that TVs, networks, they don't want people to be profitable through their advertisements. They set a price that's ridiculously high where advertisers cannot make money. But the fact is, there's ads running every single day, and they wouldn't be running by these companies that's been consistently throwing out these ads if they didn't convert.
That's amazing. Now, I have a hard question is how do you get out the rabbit holes? Because what I'm watching by doing the research, right? I was watching one of the video you were talking about, doing and, analyzing the Instagram influencers. Then you're saying, okay, this is the paid traffic. This is a dud. I waste $40 on it. This is a winner. This is what I did about it. And then even one thing I learned, one of your old videos is how Instagram recommend a look like a similar profile by clicking a down arrow. Man, I didn't know that. I watched your video, right? But then it's like, how the heck do you find the time to discover all these and not dive into the rabbit hole and not getting out? Because you literally can spend days and days analyzing those, right? But that's not going to solve the problem. That's not going to generate inbound traffic. So how do you know when to stop? How do you know, like, where is that control?
So the control is when I don't need it anymore. So at that time, that's sort of what I needed to know and do in order to make money through selling e-commerce products through Instagram. So that's sort of what I needed to do, and that's sort of what worked at the time. So right now, I guess the rabbit hole that happens is maybe I just sort of get too focused on YouTube and I forget about paid traffic and I just go all in on YouTube. Usually that doesn't happen at my current state is because I just have too many sort of livelihoods on my hands. If I just go all in on YouTube and organic traffic, there's going to be no work for my copywriter. There's going to be no work for my sales reps. There's going to be no work for my people that are running my e-commerce businesses. So I have team members in each one of the different sectors I run to keep me accountable and make sure that I really spread my time evenly and I don't get sucked into a rabbit hole focusing on something that may or may not work. Now, secondly, is I learned this thing from Sam Ovens and just following a bunch of other CEOs, and it is just focusing on one thing. A lot of people try to do a bit of everything.
Yes.
Me focusing right now, things looks like I'm diversified, but I'm actually really focused. My current focus is getting as much students into my program as possible and giving them the best value possible. That's my only focus, and everything I do is directed to that one focus. Like, I'm not doing podcasts for the sake of doing podcasts. I'm not doing LinkedIn for the sake of doing LinkedIn. It's all leading to that one goal of mine.
When I Google your profile, literally just your name, right? The first page, I didn't even bother to go to the second page. The content stacking up, looks impressive. It's got everything in the first page. How long? When's the last time you Googled yourself?
I have not. I think the last time I've Googled myself, maybe I think I made it, I think probably 50% of the first page. Actually, like maybe 70, like the last 3 or 4 things was a different Andy Mai. So I'm happy to hear I've taken over the first page of Google.
But I'm just, I'm wondering how long it took you, because you got to have a lot of content, a different form and shape and different platform to able to build that, right? Did you have a strategy, or did this is pretty much it's built up over the time? Because that's pretty impressive. It's driven by content. If you're creating value, you're providing the content, and that's a reward by Google. I mean, that's just my basic understanding. But did you have a strategy, or this is just kind of a frosting over time?
The strategy was start from YouTube and just put all my time in there, and then things would slowly happen. So from YouTube, that was the center of where everyone else that wanted to collaborate, write articles, found me from. And as a result, I was able to get all these other articles. From YouTube, I now had content to go ahead and post onto my LinkedIn. From YouTube, I now have content to post onto my podcast. So the strategy was just go all in on YouTube, and from that, the sort of seed would grow.
How do you read the online user psychology? Because you do see patterns. You're constantly testing, placing the ads. Because I see you as a specialist for driving inbound, right? Because you can place in the right ads at the right time to pop up at the right place to trigger that interaction, that thinking, and then bring that inbound back to you, right? I think you had a proven success for that, either for your current business or when you doing the e-com. But where did you get that read of that human psychology? Because as much you read stats, you look at online, it's system created by human and used by human, right? Where did you get that?
Got it. So I pulled this from so many different sources. I pulled it from a book about marketing, telling me about how it takes someone 17 times before they perform an action. I pulled it from a podcast about some entrepreneur talking about why McDonald's literally puts their ads everywhere, on bus stands, on TVs, on TikTok, on billboards, because they literally want to see you everywhere, and it's just major retargeting. I pulled it from another entrepreneur talking about how the reason why everyone loves McDonald's is due to the frequency that they've seen the McDonald's logo. So I pull all these different things that I've learned over the past 2.5 years and watched and mirrored what other sort of successful entrepreneurs are doing. And I was like, wow, the secret to successfully marketing and creating inbound traffic is just retargeting. Retarget people everywhere, and your costs per lead would drop drastically.
You said you finally got a chance to test the TikTok paying ads. I'm assuming you've been monitoring TikTok development since they've been kicked off outside of China. Why do you think they're getting so much traction and so much engagement? Because I, with my very basic research, I can see, to quantify and qualify the influencer, you see how many followers. They always get more followers on TikTok, right? It's like, why is it? Is that because the way we consume the content, the way we consume content is different now, or that the trends, people change the way they do things, or?
So the answer is because TikTok, I've personally used it to really understand what's up with TikTok. Why is everyone using it? What's so special about it? I used it and instantly I got hooked. The platform is so addictive, and that's what makes it so good. Its algorithm, it's so strong, and you could literally spend hours and hours on TikTok and not get bored. And that's why I have to limit myself from using it as a consumer. But as a marketer, that is amazing. This is an amazing platform that really knows how to get users' attention, and that's why so many people are using it. And that's why it's probably going to be one of the next biggest platforms.
I'm even more careful my speed of the swipe, because I think if I stop there for too long, the algorithm just changed and they're just going to keep feeding me the similar stuff. It's pretty
smart and scary.
It's very scary. I look closely what happening in China, the live streaming commerce. So literally, there's pretty much that it's not just a celebrity, everyone, even retail business they do this. It's like a TV shopping channel, but it's live, right? And the shopping cart's right there. They can click and purchase. It's a different culture. That's inside of China. It's TikTok. It's a brand name, same logo. It's outside of China, in the Western world. Do you see that can be the future trend in the Western world or not? Because the cultures are different, or?
The answer is yes, because already we have things such as live webinars, sales representatives, and it just shows that people want to be sold live. For example, right now, the only reason why people go to shopping centers and go to stores and malls is because they want that experience with the sales rep to really show them what the product looks like. They want to try on the product. They want to talk to that person and ask questions. And that is going to be transitioned to online. And you just sort of gave me a light bulb moment. It's like, wow, that's going to be the future. People are gonna want to just consult to an online salesman before they buy a product. And that's something I'm going to write down now and something I'm going to dwell on, because you're right, that is probably going to be the future.
Where I see, or my understanding, is by observing, especially the other platforms in Chinese, Taobao or the Kuaishou, there's a few there, and probably hundreds by now. There's a huge entertainment factor. I think this is also, if you look at, we're addicted to TikTok, there's a great entertainment value, right? And so as every other social media platform, predominantly driven by the short video content, there's a great entertainment value. But why is a live streaming? So combine the live interaction with entertainment value. That's scary, isn't it?
I think you're right. And what that sort of reminded me of is back in the old days, magicians or those really cool, interesting salesmen would do some cool tricks with these products and do live demonstrations on the street and then collect a crowd and then entertain them. And in the end, sell a bunch of units. So that's something that we've always been attracted to. And the fact that now we could do it online and reach even more people with a live cart to the left of your video or to the right of your video is just crazy.
It is. Now, would you recommend your students stick to one platform when we're talking about fork out their own savings like you did back in the younger days when you're placing those ads and testing the products? And would you stick to one platform, or you have a strategy spread it out a bit? Or
all in on Facebook ads.
Why is that?
Because if you diversify, you really lower your learning and upskilling in that platform. Facebook, Google, TikTok, LinkedIn, they're all completely different advertising platforms. If you diversify, you would barely scratch the surface of each platform. To really understand and master and crack a platform, you have to put all your time, money into that one platform, and you would see an accelerated growth once you break past that sort of 80-20 rule. Once you break past that sort of sphere, that's when you start really understanding that platform, and you can never reach that sphere if you're diversified.
Right. But why Facebook though? Why not TikTok? From TikTok to ecom? Why not have from LinkedIn to ecom? Why can't I'm sure there's a reason behind it, because I trust you because you've done more tests than everybody else I know. But what's your thought?
So the answer is TikTok and LinkedIn are new. When there's a new platform that no one has cracked, as a beginner entrepreneur, you don't have the mindset or skill set to master something that never has been done before. It's much easier for someone to climb, say, a smaller mountain versus asking them to climb Mount Everest, which only a few people have mastered. So for example, TikTok ads, there's probably little to no people that have been able to crack TikTok ads and do it super profitable. And asking a beginner entrepreneur to succeed on TikTok is like asking a beginner to hike Mount Everest.
That makes sense. I know TikTok only tested one time with Levi Jeans, have the shopping cart for like a few days, and that was it. So, and you're probably one of a few now is doing ads. So I guess it's still early days, right? And while you have a proven success, you have a pattern, you have a lot more experience of Facebook, and Facebook still quite dominant platform. Is it? So, well, that's super interesting. So if you look back in the last 2 years, do you believe you fulfilled everything you want to do from 2018? Is there anything you missed or anything you regret if you can have a time traveling back to 2018?
I think no, there's nothing I regret. When it comes to fulfilling what I wish for, I think that's yes. I think me visualizing where I wanted to be in 2 years' time, I've definitely achieved that, and it's far surpassed that. And now I just want to continue growing and keep trying to sort of help more people and sort of really make sure that this one life I have is going to be one of the best life ever. I really want to be selfish with this one life I have and create one of the best stories ever and document the whole journey so that by the time I'm 60, there's going to be a pretty cool documentary that comes out.
Oh, so this is all about legacy then?
You can put it that way.
All right. Now, a few personal questions to wrap this up. You said you're a swimmer, right? So I take it that consistency, the dedication is probably come from that root of you're probably doing lots of weekly trainings as a swimmer. I have 18 years old son myself. He's been swimming since like year 2. I used to take him to the swimming pool, so I can definitely see that. Number one sport to recharge What's your number one sport?
Currently, my number one sport is just walking, hiking, and those are my two number one sports to recharge.
Number one food?
Number one food to recharge, probably a simple bowl of rice with some fried egg and some fried green onion and some soy sauce.
Broken rice then?
Normal rice.
Normal rice. That's fantastic. Best holiday destination when you have a chance to go next?
I haven't been to this location. I really want to go to New Zealand.
Wow, that's not a big ask.
We were right next door.
Have you got any question for me? And I really enjoy this chat.
Likewise. I think I really wanted to ask about what your thoughts are on podcasts. I've been sort of doing this for the past sort of year. I started by just reposting audio versions of all my YouTube videos, and I just removed that completely because I wasn't really providing any extra value. It was literally the same YouTube video. So what I went ahead and did was I created exclusive content for my podcast, just sharing my day-to-day thoughts on my Anchor podcast account. And now I've sort of gained an audience of 8 people. So the views would fluctuate from 4 to 40 and on average, I have a audience size based on Anchor of 8 people, and I'm pretty happy of that. I don't know if that is a high number or a low number, but I'd love to sort of get your thoughts and advice when it comes to podcasts and sort of what you see can come from it and just sort of your experience.
From my experience pretty much started from November last year, so I haven't been using long. But what I personally, where I see actually building the traction engagement is for content creation. So for Google, and it definitely give you the presence if you have podcast. I mean, I don't have anything else. I don't have podcast recording equipment. I'm using iPhone and I'm using an earphone, and I'm passionate about doing this. I just want to remove friction. I can go to any small business owner and say, hey mate, you can just do what I do by creating the content. I want to remove every possible friction, and as living proof, say you can do this, rather than thinking about 10 things stop you doing it. So content creation, definitely, I personally benefit from it. The other thing, as a human habit, this is just my personal view, is it's a very different demographic compared to we consume video content. We all consume video content, no doubt, but it requires a lot more attention. For me to want to learn about you, the first thing I do, I go to Spotify and I search. I'm trying to find you, and I'll find one episode, which is recorded in 2018. And what's great about that is that's a decent size of recording, and that was I believe that's a feature on your website, because your website is so clean. I really love it. So I can do it like you say you like to walk around, and like I do. I like that as well. Maybe trying to jog and lose some weight. So while I'm doing that, my mind is clear, and I'm listening to this conversation between you and another guy, literally talking about why you do what you do, what makes you passionate about it, even drill down to the technical details. Some of I don't understand, but I feel like I'm there. Then and that just gave me that kick of engagement, because when I want to consume something on a video format, it's need more than just listening, right? But the thing is, I really like the video because you actually make big effort trying to create the value by showing people step by step, rather than trying to do the sales pitch and hook people in just to say, hey, I want to, I want to be your students. Because like, I watched your testimonials, those from Vimeo, what you did. They're awesome, because the common thing people give the feedback is you're creating an online academy for free, and you can providing the premium service once they graduate from that online academy. So from personally, I will dedicate my attention by going through some of your videos to learn as a study. That give me that ability. For podcast, it's easy, way much easier to consume. So, I can take 20 minutes walk from home to work. I can listen 20 minutes non-stop. And then another 20 minutes when I'm going back home. So I'm almost there by finishing that podcast. So I find that just an easy way to consume content. Also, real estate wise, you have a strategy to deploy it in Facebook to be seen ads, even paid ads. But the real estate in Spotify are an anchor. If you search something, it's like LinkedIn as well. It's cheap real estate is for free. So if you can, just like what you do everything else, the more you producing, you take up the cheaper real estate are probably worth a lot more, or building the traction down the track, right? It's just a different platform.
Got it. And what's your sort of growth strategy? How do you grow? For example, I'm pretty sure my 8 sort of fans came from my YouTube channel. But someone like you, how do you grow your podcast?
I just keep doing it like you do, man. You do once a day. I'll try to do one a week. But then it's like I set a mini goal. If I can't do once a week, I do one or 10 days. Like this, I think I dragged out 10 days. I have this one with you, and on Monday I had another recording. This is like a hobby to me, but when it's a hobby, and it's not like you chasing a paycheck or something like that. It's a lot more pure. It's easy to do, and like what you're doing, it's a lot more genuine. Sure, you charge your students, but you genuinely are trying to help them. I can sense that. I can feel that by doing my research. So this is different to when I watch your YouTube video, then suddenly getting all the ads relate to drop shipping. Then I look at no, I don't know this guy. Yeah, I don't believe they know everything. There's no trust there. Podcast, it's the time frame. It's longer. If somebody can listen to it, you build their trust. That's how I see it. But video is great. I want to learn a lot more about video from you, because what you've done, it's amazing. It's ticking all my boxes. I think, one hand, people know you as, ecom, how to test. But I think what has been maybe underestimated as your brand name is you actually very good of editing the videos. And, the soundtrack, the way has been that the screenshots you have, maybe you just have a good team. I don't know. But there looks very clean, very, very simple. And I like that, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think for you, all you need to do is just sort of turn all these episodes into one that will be done over Skype or Zoom. And then now you got video content that you could just throw on YouTube, and without having to do any extra work, because all you're just doing is asking the user to turn on, the audience or the guest to turn on their webcam, which I thought I was going to do. And you just buy yourself a webcam or do on your phone, and that's the easy way to get extra video content. And I guess my next question is sort of, what's your long-term goal with the podcasting, and what do you think, for example, what would my 8 listeners equate to? Like, is 8 listeners a lot? Am I on the right track? How many listeners would the average podcaster have? What's your sort of long-term goal, Owen?
I don't really know. That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. My biggest passion is, I get frustrated when I hear objections from people who say doing podcasts too hard. And right now, I just want to do a living proof to see, anyone can do it. I want to help as many people I can to do their own podcast, to interact, to make more friends. But you're talking about chasing the next level, right? We all know the one of the UFC biggest celebrity, and now it just signed exclusivity for podcasts, and that's like millions and millions of dollars, right? You know, I'm not chasing that, but you know, you can monetize your passion, but right now I don't even know what to monetize. But I enjoy that interaction though, because I think it's quite pure. You know, what's the chance you talk to a total stranger and record a podcast for now? Here we are.
I think you're totally right. As long as you enjoy it, I think that's all you need to have to succeed. And I think the answer is the perfect answer. As long as you're enjoying this, it's going to turn out all right.
I think, you know, I want to conclude the podcast by saying what I find is you actually, by doing live recording with the guests, you build true friendship, and also you help out each other. And the audio format as a content is going to be floating around online. You said you want a legacy, right? And could be my legacy as well, right?
Exactly. So I really appreciate you reaching out. I'm very excited to listen to this. I'd love to get a copy of it as well. I'd love to sort of share it on my sort of different platforms. And I really appreciate you reaching out, and I had a blast on this podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Like, it's a privilege, and looking forward to ongoing learning from you. You know, who knows? When I do have enough time, I want to be your student too. And in the meanwhile, I think I need to graduate the free online academy first, and over 500 videos, man. That's a lot of attention is required. It's going to take me a bit of time, but as long as you keep pumping out those content, I'm going to keep trying, man. And I really say, well done. I'm gonna refer as many people I know to learn from your content, because you genuinely creating a lot of value. I feel it's still been underestimated by the people trying to climb the same mountain. They actually don't know there's a guide there can take this, not necessarily shortcut, probably a bit safer path, rather than just trying to risk it all without knowing what's in front of them.
I feel the exact same way. Like I know that there's a lot of other YouTubers with much more views in my space, and you know, I haven't had that really deter me, and I'm just really enjoying the process and that slow grind and that slow growth. And I really appreciate those kind words, man. And yeah, I really appreciate all the support with the channel, and I'm thankful to have a listener like yourself.
As you guys can see, that's the interview. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, please drop a like below, hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell. Here's the winning comment from the last few videos. As always, I pick the best comment every single video to give $1,000 worth of courses, consulting course too, so be sure to drop a comment below. Other than that, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching the channel, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow with much more value. Peace.